Wanted to talk to you guys about Richard Hamilton. Okay. And you're probably wondering why Richard Hamilton? You talked about Darko last week, now Richard Hamilton. So Rip has said that he wants to be involved in management. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up and the reason why we're going to talk about this is there's a very strong possibility that we see some front office changes this summer. Now, I'm not saying Troy Weaver is going to get fired. I'm not. I'm not saying that Tom Gores is going to fire Monty Williams. I'm not saying any of that. What I am suggesting is I think there's a very strong possibility that Richard Hamilton could be working for the Detroit Pistons in some kind of capacity. And the reason why I'm saying this and the reason why I'm talking about this is I want you guys to look at this picture. Okay. Now, this was taken this week. And Rip is in the Pistons locker room. And he says, be impactful. And there's a tweet from James Edwards. And this was on March 17th when the Going to Work Pistons were honored at halftime. It's been 20 years since they won a championship. We all know that. We understand it. So James's tweet really caught my attention. And it got me paying attention. It said, Rip says he doesn't have interest in coaching, but has an interest in management. Let me read that again. Rip doesn't have an interest in coaching, but has an interest in management. You guys, the Detroit Pistons never hired assistant GMs when Rob Murphy got axed. There's a vacancy for an assistant GM in this front office. Now, I know some of you will probably go right off the bat and say, fire Weaver, hire Rip. Because I know that's how hyperbolic you guys are. I do. It's just very interesting when you kind of, connect the dots. You go over to the Detroit Pistons YouTube channel right now, right? They have a mic'd up series with Richard Hamilton. Rip is mic'd up during the 04 stuff, talking to media, talking to fans. And if you pay attention, he's sitting right next to Arn Tellem the entire time that they were watching the game. And previously, before they even honored the Go Into Work Pistons, Rip was at a Pistons game sitting with Arn Tellem again. Now, Rip has said, hey, I want to be involved in management. I want to get involved. Rip is with the vice president of the Detroit Pistons, Arn Tellem. Okay? He's with him. Maybe Arn's dropping some knowledge to Rip. Maybe he really wants to do this front office stuff, do this management stuff. Maybe he wants to work for the Detroit Pistons. I think that would be a hell of a homecoming for Pistons fans. We'd love to have one of our own, one of the best shooting guards in Pistons history, be in the front office, have some type of role in the front office. And Rip, I think a lot of you guys would probably love being in the front office. I know I would. He's one of my favorite players growing up. I think just having someone that has won a championship in this city, had a very unique journey to the NBA, got traded for a guy that was averaging 30 points in Jerry Stackhouse, wasn't really known as a defender, but bought into that defensive-minded Detroit Pistons with Ben Wallace, Chauncey, and all those guys. I think if Rip wants to get involved in management, he wants to get involved in any type of front office or ownership, I would welcome it 100%, you guys. I really would. I think the Pistons, since Tom Gores has bought the team, they've kind of kicked out all the people that win championships. I'm talking about Joe Dumars. Tom Gores kicked out Joe Dumars as a GM and a VP and all that stuff. He kicked out guys like Arnie Kander, who was a longtime team doctor, along with Mike Abdenauer. They're no longer with the Pistons anymore. Mike Abdenauer obviously retired. Arnie's with the Magic. There's a lot of great people that worked for this organization, whether it was with the Bad Boys, whether it was with the Go in the Work crew. They're no longer here. And I think what you're seeing right now is the people that do work for the Detroit Pistons, they don't have any of that knowledge. They don't have any of the know-how to get to that next level. Under Tom Gores, they've made the playoffs twice, but they've been 8 seeds and they've been bounced out of the first round, right? I think how this kind of connects the dots and how this relates to Richard Hamilton wanting to be involved in management, how it relates is if you have a guy like Richard Hamilton, let's just say he's in the front office, you're starting to bring back the culture that's been missing with the Detroit Pistons for so long. This team has no culture right now. I think what they're doing off the court with a lot of, personalities like Ty Hopkins, I absolutely love that. He did a podcast with Lindsey Hunter on the Pistons YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. I love that type of stuff. But the reason why I said that they're missing culture is this front office is so far removed from guys like Joe Dumars that won 2 championships as a player and 1 as a general manager. And I think Rip can kind of, bring that culture back, mend some fences. Maybe, they mend some fences with Rasheed Wallace. Maybe they mend some fences with Joe Dumars, because Joe Dumars hasn't been around the Pistons since he got fired. Rasheed Wallace hasn't been around the Pistons since Richard Hamilton's jersey retirement. I think hiring Rip in the front office role, I would absolutely be 100% all in for. I think he can bring, some younger guys, because Rip is still around the NBA. He's still around a lot of, current NBA players. I think you get some, young blood in that front office, because if we're being honest, you guys, like, our front office is old. Like, none of those guys are like really young and could relate to NBA players now. I think Rip could relate to the younger generation a little bit better. And I think it would just honestly be a good hire. That's something I want you guys to pay attention to, though. Like, he wants to be involved in management. He wants to, work in a front office, possibly own a team. Who knows? Doubt he's going to buy the Pistons, because Gores said he's not going to sell. But hey, I would love to see him, come back to the Detroit Pistons and work for them. But I did want to spend a couple of minutes on that, because I think a lot of you guys, once you kind of connect the dots, you connect that tweet from James earlier, and you kind of connect him being around the Detroit Pistons a hell of a lot more, like a lot. Usually you see Rip like maybe once a year. He's been a lot. I mean, think about it. He's done stuff where he was at the lottery when the Pistons got the 5th pick for Jaden Ivey. He's done a lot of stuff on social media with the Pistons, whether it's being mic'd up. I think he wants to be involved. He wants to get his foot in the door. And I think a good place to do it is a team that you won a championship in 2004, and you had a lot of great years here. And I think the fans would absolutely love it. I know I would love it, getting a former player in the front office that knows what it takes to win at the end of the day.